What's good, guys? Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the live stream. It is the manager of the channel's birthday. It's Nicole's birthday. Y'all haven't really seen Nicole that much. She don't like being in front of the camera and shit, but it's Nicole's birthday. So if you happen to know her or watch this video, wish her a happy birthday. But also, I'm here to talk about the title of this here live stream. It says Illinois weed tax windfall tops 560 million, and here's where the money goes. So I pulled up a Chicago Sun-Times article, and this article pretty much, I'm going to get into it here just a second after a couple of hits of this bong. This article goes into the fact that Illinois has received this much bread from the weed market, but at least according to this article, they're starting to do like positive things for it around with the money around the community. So I guess we can start on the side of the fact that as weed consumers, the prices here suck. Like definitely not ideal prices if you're looking at any type of other market. This is one of the most expensive ones in the nation here in Illinois. So because of that, I feel like they're trying to cast a positive light on that by saying, all right, yeah, we might be taking a lot of your money, but look what we're doing with your money. We're putting your money in good places in other people's good hands. I feel like is what articles like this are trying to say, or what the state is trying to say when they talk about their tax program and stuff like that. But with the amount of people I know that don't shop in dispensaries here, but shop in the black market, if the taxes were lower, it remains to be seen what would happen. Like, would you get more taxes? Would more people be shopping in the dispensary? More people driving over from Wisconsin? More people driving over from Indiana and shit like that to buy weed here if the prices weren't outrageous? And therefore, if the prices weren't outrageous, would more tax revenue be gotten? Would it be like less tax revenue per person, but more tax revenue like overall because more people are shopping in the shops? Because as an average income earner amongst the rest of Americans, the weed in the dispensary is out of my price range. The weed in the dispensary here in Illinois is really like, it feels like a luxury item. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't seem like the ideal take when it comes to establishing this recreational and medical marketing. Because like alcohol isn't luxury. That's not a luxury item because the price is reasonable. But here, with the prices of the weed being so unreasonable, it's like, yeah, you can have legal weed, but you're gonna fucking pay for it. So I'm going to now share this screen. And we can kind of start going through it. The state's collection since early 2020 now outpaced that raised from booze sales. So more money, like I've talked about this before, but more money has been raised from the tax revenue of weed than alcohol. But I mean, the weed is taxed at ridiculous prices as well. So it kind of makes sense, but it also makes sense because people like weed and people are going to buy weed regardless. And it says the money has been used for buying opioid reversal drugs, to funding Girl Scout programs, and to fight human trafficking. So that article goes into a lot of this stuff. First-time recreational buyers often feel the sticker shock. With hefty taxes, an eighth, 3.5 grams, usually costs around $80 here. Far more than the black market weed, obviously. What we've talked about so many more and so much. And really double the price of black market weed. Not only more expensive, but double the price. And since February, pot sales have brought in a whopping 100 million. This is where I'm at in the article, by the way. 100 million more in taxes than alcohol. So when people are talking about this stuff and they're talking about, yeah, we're making weed legal, obviously it's for economic purposes. I mean, these fucking politicians don't care about our health or care about anything like that. But it's interesting to see that it's making this much money, the taxes are this high, and places like San Francisco are still like, no, we need to roll back these taxes because of the black market issues that are going to occur if weed continues to primarily exist outside the black market. Because if there's this much tax revenue, I can't imagine how much tax revenue they're missing out on. I really can't imagine, because most people I know out here don't shop at the dispensary, and because of that, they're getting this much from people that are visiting the state, and they're getting this much from people who feel comfortable enough in their finances to go shopping at the dispensary and stuff like that. Because even as a medical patient here, if you don't have to pay, you don't really have to pay any taxes. But either way, that eighth is still $62. You know, no taxes, $62 is still significantly higher than the average street bud, with the quality being marginally higher. So now, where's the money gone? 134 million financing 2 programs aimed at investing in communities hardest hit by the drug war. A similar amount has been deposited into the state's general revenue and budget stabilization funds, and more than 60 million has been used to cover administrative costs, fund local governments, facilitate the sweeping cannabis expungement process, and finance a public education campaign on substance abuse. So with these numbers, I also don't know, for example, substance abuse and prevention, mental health concerns, stuff like that, because that would all be under like DUI class and stuff. Even like all those type of things would be in that whole substance abuse category. So who knows what this stuff is actually being used for when it comes out. Cannabis Regulation Fund, so that's obviously regulating the flower and everything like that. Facilitation of expungement process. I don't know how far 7.4 million takes you. And I don't know how many people are in jail for weed. You know, we don't know how many total court cases and how many lawyers and all that stuff, and how many court fees and paperwork fees have to be filed, and how many people can really be affected with $7.4 million. It'd be interesting to like really talk to a government accountant or something like that and see like how far does that really go? Because if you're saying 7.4 million can help 100 people, but we need to get to thousands, maybe it's not, maybe a larger chunk needs to be allocated there. But if $7.4 million is a responsible amount or whatever, then it might be the right amount. So it's, the numbers are always interesting, because these numbers are going to for sure be inflated to show that the legal market is doing well and is shining and everything like that, which I would say it is doing well. But if you're talking about doing well in terms of combating the illegal market, then I wouldn't say it's doing well. I got you, H book. Yeah, they're like upwards, you say, but they're like, that's the price here. 70, $80 is the price here when it comes to how much an eighth is, Boogie. That's not even like a deal. Like a deal here, if you're buying on the recreational market, a deal here would be $62 for real, because the eighth would be 50, and then it would be like $12 in taxes. And if you bought with a debit card, then they charge you even more for that. So really, realistically, I think that the cheapest eighth I've bought here has been like $67, and that's a deal. You know, like that's the best deal that I found at the dispensary, unless you're talking about shake or buds and stuff like that. But still, shake here is like 10 a gram. You know, after taxes, after the bagging fee and all the other shit that Illinois is going to impose, shake and stuff like that, like a quarter shake is still going to come out to like 75, $80, you know, and that's high. When I can get a nice quarter on the street, not shake, for the same price. And I'm not going to be checking the COA on either one of them, more than likely. If we're talking, especially if we're talking about the average consumer, like I am much more educated than the average consumer. So we're talking about the person who just wants to roll up. And so as we've talked about many times, the best use case for the dispensary out here really is for people who want concentrates, so people who want pens. And still, like, pens out here sold primarily in like point threes. So you're getting like a point three pen for like $50. Like, that's not a deal. Or that's not even like good, especially if you're a consistent smoker. If you're somebody who can hit the pen one time a day, and it lasts you a month, then maybe that's a good deal. But if you're somebody who's going to actually be puffing on that pen, that's not a good deal at all. Yeah, Ryan, that's how it be. I used to live out in Colorado. I used to live in the Fort Collins area during college, and the weed there was like unbelievably cheap. I still bought off the street there because it was cheaper and just as quality. And Colorado's been legal so long, and there's so many established home grows and private grows set up that in Colorado they got gas out there. You can find gas for cheap. If you guys you smash that pill 1 gram a day, exactly, Shane. Like, so there are a lot of smokers out there who a point three pin is nothing, especially when you're walking out the door paying $50 for it. It's interesting to see what this Illinois market's like. So they have here in Illinois, we have this restore, reinvest, and renew program. Gets a quarter of excise taxes and fees after administrative, da 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 da. And this is the social equity plan, the social equity and advanced restorative justice efforts. This is the R3 program. So if I talk about the R3 program later in this is what I'm talking about. And this is investing back into the community is what it's supposed to. And we're also in this article not talking about minorities and people who have been affected participating in the cannabis market. I do want to make that different. This is talking about people who are just this is talking about money that is just put back out in the community. Sorry, I'm fumbling over my words. Like Girl Scouts, like this boxing program, like these different programs, you can get grants that are meant to help people in poor communities. But this also is not talking about helping people in these communities get into the cannabis market, just getting money donated to them from the cannabis market. So 67.3 million has been dedicated to funding grants, supporting communities adversely affected by disinvestment, violence, stuff like that. About half the grant money has already been dispersed. So $30 million, 30 something $million has already been dispersed, it's saying. So in this guy, Brown, his last name is Brown, was amongst 21 organizations. So that's halfway through the year. So they've spent half the money. This was in July. They put out the first round of grants, and they've received, this company, this boxing gym received nearly $200,000 of the 3.5 million that's been given out, or that was given out in July. And that's to help people like this man and like Girl Scout programs, as it talks about later in this article as well. And I have this article linked below if you guys want to read this as well. It's just talking about how this money is being given back into the community. And this is great. I think this is a good thing that they're giving money back in the community, but I'd also like to see efforts being made, and I'm sure this is on both sides, of just more minority owned dispensaries and businesses and stuff like that, and being able to get into the space and being able to operate in the space legally and be able to make money in this space, because it's another space that a lot of these first movers are able to get here, conglomerate, and then sell to other MSOs, to sell to other state organizations and shit. And now, as we're seeing in some other states where they're trying to do more social equity stuff, they're saying if you get a social equity like license or whatever, if you get a license in some of these states, you have to hold on to it. You can't sell it. You can't sell it to an MSO. You can't sell it to a bigger company. So, guys, this article is about where the money is being spent from the cannabis market, but it's not talking about where the money is being earned. And it's great to have charity. It's great to have that things, but it's also even better to have a space where people can actually go get their own money, go make their own money, create their own businesses, and grow in that legal space, and do it possibly do it, not be subjugated to crazy high fees, crazy application fees, not being able to get into the market, crazy high regulations to where only certain people are able to uphold that type of stuff. It's it's just a part of it. It's just a part of it. So I'm not going to read too much more in that article because a lot of the other stuff's talking about them trying to fight opioid crisis issues and mental health issues and stuff like that. And this is just that article shows where the money's where the money's going. So if you are in Illinois and you're like, where's my cannabis money going? Where's the money I spend in the dispensary going? Then that might be for you. If you're watching my channel, you might be, I don't go to the dispensary. I see people here saying they don't even go to the dispensary. So if you don't go to the dispensary, then your money's going to the streets. And I understand my money's primarily going to the streets. But this article does really highlight the fact that, yeah, they're trying to do charity with the money. And charity is how they got weed legalized a lot of times. But are the people affected, and are the people that you're giving charity to, or do they have the opportunity to also grow a business and then also give charity? Or will they always just be charity cases? Because no one wants to always be a charity case, People want opportunity. I got you, Boogie. Yeah, like 25 minutes from you. Like most places, if the weed was cheaper, I bet you'd be at that dispensary. Like if the weed was quality and cheap, people will go to the dispensary, no doubt. And not necessarily cheap. If it was even $40 to $50 an eighth, if you could find a $40 eighth, $50 after taxes, people would be in the dispensary in much higher droves than they currently are. I guarantee it. And we're talking about a $20 price change. We're not talking about crazy things. Because right now, like I said, you can find them on sale for like $62. It'll be $50 on the shelf, $12 to $20 in taxes, and so $60 to $70 in there. So that's a whole different price range if you're talking about how people smoke eighths. Because a lot of consistent smokers smoke eighths a week, or even faster than that, but at least a week, or at the longest a week. So we're talking about people spending $70 a week versus spending $40 to $50 a week. That's a big difference, and because we're talking about over the course of a month. So 4 weeks out of the year, that $20 difference. We're talking $80 to $100 difference, especially throwing a lighter sometimes. Sometimes you need papers. Sometimes you know what I'm saying? Like every situation, every buying experience isn't just 1/8 walk out the door. Sometimes it's a deal. I want to buy a pen also. But if they make these prices more reasonable, people will get into the shops, and I swear they'll be able to impact people even more if that's what this is about. If this is actually about helping people, if this is actually about getting money back in the community, lower the prices, allow people to shop there, allow people in the community to shop there. That's another thing. You're giving charity to a community of people who can't even buy the products. But those people can buy alcohol. Those people can afford some street weed. Those people can afford the unregulated weed, but they can't afford to buy the product that's supposed to be helping their community. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. They can't buy the product that's supposed to be positively impacting their community. Allow people in the community to build their business. Allow people in the community to go into the businesses. Allow people in the community to be able to purchase in the businesses and help themselves. So many times, so many of these laws and stuff are built to help other people, but it kind of restricts those same people from helping themselves. And that's fucked up. That's the American way for sure, but it's still fucked up. The American way is definitely to literally arrest people or bondage people and then tell people, all right, now we'll help you. That's the American way, but that's not how it should be. In the cannabis market, people have been casting it to be like something that was supposed to be different, but many of the same issues are starting to protrude because they're not allowing a safe legal space for people to operate their businesses. So around the 20-minute mark, guys, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. I don't have too much more to talk about. I actually have a very busy day. As I told you, Nicole's birthday is today, so we're celebrating my girlfriend / channel manager's birthday. Y'all wish her a happy birthday. If somehow you run across her in some type of way on social media, I have no idea. But I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me for another episode. I'm going to start numbering these because I'm curious. I'm almost a month in the 9 a.m. live stream. Have 12 people on right now. I'm currently live on the Cannabis Library, the Chicago Cannabis Library, and my Twitch. If you're interested specifically in Chicago news, in Chicago content, Chicago weed and stuff like that, feel free to subscribe to Chicago Cannabis Library. I created a different one, so if you previously subscribed, I'm so sorry. There's only like 5 people, so it wasn't a lot. But if you do want to stay in touch with Chicago cannabis news, Chicago cannabis strains, reviews, stuff like that, feel free to, or Illinois in general, feel free to subscribe to Chicago Cannabis Library. Guys, it's been another fun episode. I've enjoyed smoking with you guys. It's time to go eat. It's time to get the day started. Y'all have a wonderful Thursday. If the weekend is something that you're typically excited about, it's almost the weekend, so you guys are almost there. If the weekend is a time that it is what it is, then it is what it is.